As you can easily imagine, I went through a hard time in the meeting room. The item the company was trading was steel and iron, and I had completely no knowledge in that field. As soon as the meeting started, I realized that I was the wrong person to be there, and I completely messed things up. The person who should have been in charge luckily arrived in about 3 hours, and I was able to leave the room at last. But the fact that everybody noticed my inabilities and didn't say anything made me more miserable, and I was absolutely devastated. Why on earth did I have to take on this job? Why did people always ask me to do something that I didn't have qualities and abilities for? Being terribly ashamed of this experience, I hoped that I would forget this memory as soon as possible. After listening to me, Tomo asked me if I believed in only 5% of the conscious mind. What about the 95% of the unconscious mind? She asked. I've been through an experience just like the one you have shared with me, she continued. She told me that when she was in secondary school, she found herself in a situation where she had to choose whether she would become a candidate for president of the student council or a class representative. She didn't know why other students recommended her to be their leader. Fast forward, when she started her career at an insurance company, she was promoted to trainer in no time, and she was given many opportunities to give presentations. According to her, her boss seemed to have thought highly of her, and he found her voice especially appealing and persuasive for the trainees. She had no idea why people around her supported and trusted her so much. She said, when we meet people, we feel an aura or a vibe surrounding them, which we often do not notice. Through aura, we are able to sense not only the field of energy from a person at a given moment, but also we can feel what he or she was capable of doing in their previous lives. Tomo once told me during a session, whether you believe it or not, that I lived in Europe in my previous lives. Considering what she said, everything clicked for me. I guess all the information about ourselves lies in the 95% of the unconscious mind, and this has greatly affected our lives. Well, I meant to end this paragraph here, but since I have something else to share with you, though what I'm going to tell you seems to be unrelated, I will continue. It's about my creativity. When I was in middle school, we were making a design of a plate in an art class, but even after we were passing the halfway mark of the lesson, I was still unable to come up with an idea. Then the teacher brought me an English newspaper and said, "Why don't you transcribe some English words from this newspaper?" What I wrote on a sheet of paper consisted only English words, but it turned out unique for me, and I liked it. Since I was the only student in my class who was unable to come up with a design, I thought that I was not a creative type of person. Last December, when Tomo suggested to create my Instagram account, I wasn't sure whether I could be creative enough to make something interesting. However, as I'd already found an area of my interest, I got my project started in no time. Despite the fact that I convinced myself that I was not creative, once I started, fresh ideas and imagination have come up to my mind, sometimes in the early hours and sometimes while I was bathing. Now that I can regularly upload my videos on Instagram, I've noticed that I can manage myself to overcome self-doubt and to raise my self-belief. This is the first time I've realized that making and creating something can be satisfying, life-affirming, and rewarding. I recently noticed that an interesting idea would come to me out of nowhere as long as I dedicate myself to creating something. It seems like if an idea flows into my mind, an immense power has been working from somewhere. I'm sure that something hidden from sight always helps me to move forward, for which I have a deep appreciation. I suppose that this power is what Tomo refers to, sacred heart that everyone has.